Logo.
I don't even know why we wouldn't just use that.
Exactly.
Well,
You know, Dan, when I think back on my first movie theater experience, I really imagine sort of a feeling. You know, something that contained water trembling, a goat disappearing, and the loud sound of a thunderous roar that shook the movie theater.
welcome to the Hubbub Moment. What we're going to do in these smaller episodes is break down moments in movie history that really changed the course or affected movies that came afterwards. It could be in scenes, directors, actors, portrayals.
So in this episode, we're going to cover the T-Rex breakout scene in Jurassic Park. It's a scene that's very influential, especially on the cusp of CGI.
It didn't just make the scene, it practically made the movie and changed the course of movies at the time. Let's check out this moment.
Okay, let's set the scene. A dinosaur tour. No dinosaurs.
Now eventually you do plan to have dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour, right?
I really hate that man.
Grant, Malcolm, Lex, Tim, Gennaro, and a goat.
Power's out, cars stopped. The silence before the storm.
All right, so in the scene, Steven Spielberg uses suspense sort of like a horror movie. You know, he did this with Jaws. He's doing it here with the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. He uses suspense versus action and shock value to build up the narrative in this scene itself.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that you mentioned Jaws because, you know, whereas Jaws was clearly compensating for the shark not working. And, you know, everybody has said, you famously have talked about if the shark would have worked, the movie probably would have suffered. They leaned on suspense. They leaned on music. They leaned on the silence. They leaned on, you know, stillness. And he basically borrows from his own playbook and elevates it here to make it something even greater.
Gary Rydstrom is the sound engineer for this, and he said it was several minutes of fear before you really even saw anything at all, and that's exactly what they did. The sound design is spectacular on this. Basically, this scene is Steven Spielberg saying, hey, you saw the slow buildup I did in Jaws? Hold my flare. We found 37 moments of suspense that we'd like to call out in this scene, and we're going to take it one by one, throw some conversation in betwixt.
All right, start the counter. The cars lose power next to the T-Rex enclosure. Yep, that can't be good.
Woo!
Tim jump scares everyone with the night vision goggles.
Tim hears something.
You feel that?
Water ripple, trouble ripple, existential ripple. This ripple, man.
Iconic, just in and of itself.
Yeah, it's almost more iconic than the T-Rex. The ripple itself, you know, the idea came from Steven Spielberg when the base of his car, he saw the rearview mirror and it was rattling from it.
You think he was playing Public Enemy when that was going on, or?
Well, probably.
You know, it's funny because to do this, they rigged the dashboard with a guitar string underneath and plucked it. And because of that, this little cup becomes one of the great visual metaphors of cinema.
Absolutely.
Where's the goat?
Where's the goat?
Ah, there's the goat. Oh, correction, there was the goat.
The T-Rex hand appears like a giant scaly sup.
The T-Rex finishes off our little goat buddy. Hey, how you doing, folks? All right, so that head reel, the animatronic T-Rex in the scene was 40 feet long, 20 feet high, weighed 4.5 tons. Made two different models by Stan Winston, very famous model builder in movie history here. He did one with a full body and one with the upper torso. When we see the full T-Rex, it's CGI, but when we see close-ups of the head and the torso, it is the actual animatronic figure.
In fact, it was the first time a digital creature actually looked real. You know, when you look at it now, it still does. And that's, you know, a combination of filmmaking techniques and technology. But I think it's also the combination of using practical and digital.
Yeah, and they did a great job, and they really perfected it too in Lost World. And a lot of times you can look back on those movies even now. Those were, was it 30 years ago now?
Yeah.
Jurassic Park, the first one, and the effects look better than some modern day movies.
Spielberg actually, you know, he planned to use stop motion up until this point, and that's when ILM showed him a walk cycle using a digital dinosaur.
Industrial Light and Magic they came up with that T-Rex, and they were developing it sort of undercover. And this is covered in Light and Magic, a great documentary on Disney Plus. If you want to check it out, it really revolutionized the industry in terms of CGI and how this stuff was really used. And Steven Spielberg did a fantastic job.
One thing that they did was seamlessly integrate, the digital and the practical. I mean, it's almost impossible to tell. But when we see that, especially the two young actors, they're reacting to a full-size practical T-Rex. It makes acting quite a bit easier versus like a fully digital T-Rex where they're feeling menaced by a big tennis ball on a 12-foot stick.
Yeah, not quite as menacing that way.
No.
The lawyer just can't hold it any longer.
He left us.
And bolts for the bathroom like he's going to miss the third act of a Marvel movie.
The fence starts creaking and falling apart. It's starting to get real.
Dr. Grant?
The T-Rex has entered the chat. It now got real. Finally, the roar. All right, so that roar, very iconic as well. It's a combination of a few different animals. You have the baby elephant, alligator, tiger, even Jack Russell Terrier named Buster.
So the baby elephant had let out a shriek when they were recording it, something that nobody had heard before, and that became one of the sort of prominent features that they pulled the audio from. I don't know what that was. The kids do all the wrong things. Turn on the flashlight, wave flashlight wildly. Loudly close the car door. Scream!
The T-Rex pauses to assess the situation. Hey, he's a problem solver.
The eyeball, still checking things out, sees no threats, but sees a good dinner. Resumes being chaos incarnate. Snout meets SUV. He just wants them to come out and jump in the puddles with him.
Cracks the sunroof like it's nothing. The tension is now inside the car.
That scene there, the plexiglass, it wasn't supposed to break. So a lot of the reactions that we're seeing, those are real.
Yeah, that animatronic T-Rex, while impressive, didn't always work the best. It was constantly faulty. They put it under some pretty stressful situations. A lot of rain.
Yeah.
It didn't really like that.
Yeah, animatronics and giant rain machines don't really get along.
Yeah.
What they had to do in between takes is, dry it off.
Yeah. Oh, and overnight, too. They had overnight crews that would dry this thing out.
I can barely get my dog dry.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how those guys did it. In fact, when the T-Rex is starting to malfunction, it's actually a little alarming. It just shakes.
Yeah. So, having this big thing that is coming down when these kids are in this car right at you, and knowing that it occasionally malfunctions, and then seeing this glass break, which wasn't supposed to happen, probably a little disconcerting.
He flips the car. He smashes the car.
Kids scream. Kids get squished.
Dr. Grant enters with a flair like a Broadway dinosaur matador. Ladies and gents, Alan Grant and the Flaming Distraction.
Dr. Malcolm also brings a flair. Badly.
Ian, freeze! Get rid of the fan!
Jeff Goldblum proving that chaos theory applies to pretty much everything he does.
The bathroom stall starts to wobble. Spoiler, it won't hold.
Treat time! The T-Rex grabs a human lollipop. Flavor, blood-sucking lawyer.
Dr. Grant quickly attempts to pull the kids from under the car.
Lex again calls attention to the group with her patented scream.
Don't move. You can't see us if we don't move.
The giant murder lizard's giant footprint. Hey, fun fact, Spielberg actually intended for the T-Rex to die in this sequence.
Yeah, and I kind of realized once, they were shooting this scene that he probably should rewrite the ending.
Didn't he quote is like, we can't kill the T-Rex as the star of the movie.
Yeah, so then T-Rex comes back in. The end saves the day.
Saves the day.
Yeah.
And actually appears later in the sequels.
The snout returns with a game of SUV roulette. Who will it crush? Let's give it a spin.
Oh, a sweet little nuzzle of the SUV.
Rexy here is way too close for comfort. Like your Uber driver insists on a handshake too close.
Got a fear of heights? Get ready for some fun. Grant and Lex teeter over a massive wall.
Yeah, I don't like it. More height unease here. Now they're repelling. It's a Jurassic gym class.
And, of course, the car threatens a high dive into them.
I'm gonna count this one. Lex applies a chokehold to Grant.
Lex, you took me.
Lex fumbles with the fencing wire, but ultimately pulls them to safety before the car drops.
Rexy gives a final, I'm watching you, the ultimate mic drop. And then Steven Spielberg himself drops the mic, calls it a career, high fives a velociraptor, books it out of there. Right, so this scene really is the blueprint for Steven Spielberg's blockbuster philosophy. You have it all going on. Practical effects for realism, CGI for spectacle, and suspense really to glue it all together. This whole scene is kind of a movie in and of itself. It has an arc to it.
When this actually played in the theaters, it just kind of left the theaters in silence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it wasn't just a dinosaur. It wasn't showing us a dinosaur. It was showing us what movies could do, and that is what movies could do.
Yeah, that's what makes this one of the moments that matter.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for joining us on the Hubbub Moment for today. If you have any ideas, any scenes in particular you like, please let us know in the comments. Haven't already, please like and subscribe, and hope to catch you next time on the Hubbubbery.